And we're back. TM Collectibles, it's Tom, riding solo today. Got some feedback. Some people want to see some eBay orders that we buy. So, we're going to give it a shot. This order was $116.45. Short version of it is 8 pounds of cards. So, I'm pretty sure I saw some starter decks in there, loose. This is going to be the first kind of video of this sort of opening an eBay order. I've had some ones in the past that were pretty rough. Some would say horrible. But at least this time around, we have some packing peanuts. So, that's unexpected, but I'll walk away off screen, grab another box that I have full of other packing peanuts. So, just slide it this way off camera a little bit. See if I can save some of this, because one thing you want to do when you're selling stuff is reuse any materials you can, because it saves you money. And the answer is yes. Basically all of this is just going all over the floor because it's not quite landing in the box that I want. So we'll get the majority of these out and then we'll start digging in. Hopefully we have some good stuff in here. So I will say I did see a couple good items on the initial picture. Sometimes you get lucky, you get a good picture and everything's actually in the picture that you order. Sometimes you don't really have any good idea of what's in the order. You know, bad pictures, whether sellers are just kind of wanting to get rid of stuff and they don't really care about what they take pictures of, or, you know, quality shots. So you can get burned a little bit if you think it's good and it's really not. Or you can get surprised. So, right off the bat, looks like we got a full set of sleeves from, what was that? Gear 5? So, pretty nice right there. I think it's a couple dollars. So, I'm okay with prices in general as far as kind of remembering what they are. But, kind of the gist here for us at TM Collectibles, I'll pretty much buy anything that I think I can make money on. I'm up to about maybe 40,000, maybe just shy of 40,000 cards. This might get me there, in which case I have so many commons that I'm starting to list finally. You know, a couple cents here and there will hopefully make up the difference for some stuff, or they'll just be horrible when it comes to bulk and someone orders 100 common cards and you got to eat the money on shipping a little bit. But it's kind of the name of the game, depending on what you set your prices for, if people want to pay for it. So, we got a nice, lovely little stack. I will say the box on the outside was a little beat up, but they did a good job wrapping. I know I've bought from this person before in the past, and I think I got some good stuff. So, hopefully the good times keep on running. But, ooh, see, look at that. It's actual bubble wrap. You'd be surprised of how much trash bags are used, which, hey, I appreciate some of the thought of packing stuff, at least with some trash bags, is some, you know, void fill to keep stuff from sliding around. So we got 4 sweet little special Don packs. Nice. We'll set those on the side. I forget what those are worth, but maybe we'll give those an open or not. But usually what I do when I get an order, or not an order I should say, well I guess yeah, an order that I buy versus sending out, I'll go ahead and just kind of open everything up for the most part, and then I'll sort it all out by either, oh, nice use of bubble wrap, just keeping the stacks separate too. So kudos to that, so you don't get as much rubbing on the insides, which is a killer. Even if you get a sweet box of cards and you're like, this is going to be great, by the time you get them transporting and they just do a little side-by-side rubbing, sliding against each other, or there was a little bit of space and everything just starts completely shifting around. Everything can just go from, you know, near mint, which you could sell as, to either light play or MP, moderate play, or even, you know, stuff goes on the side, like the side of the box, and then bends or catches, and just now you're looking at damaged cards. And the worst feeling is, you know, you see a good card in the pictures and you finally see it after you start opening the box, and then it's just a nice crease down the center or the back of it. You're like, well, there goes all the value of that card. I mean, people will still buy stuff that's damaged, don't get me wrong, but You know, if it's nice, like $10 card, and all of a sudden just maybe $1 for it. So, but yeah, so far these look pretty good. Like I said, I've ordered from this person before from some of their lots, and they did a good job packing it. So I'm always excited to see it. So what we'll do is kind of get everything opened up, start breaking it down into piles, and anything good we'll set to the side, sleeve it up, and start taking a tally of what we got. But usually commons all in one pile, uncommon same thing. I used to kind of do a pre-sort. Oh, here we go. So we got a sealed starter deck. Teach, Luffy. So is that actually Gear 5 Luffy? So okay, that's a good one right there. I think this is what, 27 or whatever number that is. And a Luffy. 26. I'm bad with starter deck numbers for the newest sets. So we got 3 of those. That's pretty cool. What was I saying? So common, uncommon, rares. I usually just kind of stack those all up in a nice little pile for that. That's pretty good. And then I'll sort by set and go from there. I used to do a pre-sort. I think I was saying originally a big pre-sort of just condition. Just trying to find anything with damage, setting that on the side. Now I think I'm kind of just saving that to the end, so I'll get everything sorted out by rarity, by playset. You know, is it OPO1, OPO2? Get it all nice and organized, and then as I go to inventory of how many of each card I have, you know, stack it all up. Like say if there's 20 of these right here, I'll have a pile of 20. Flip it over. Your easiest way is just kind of looking at the back for your most part for your indicator. You know, it's a lot easier to tell of any nicks and stuff like that. And then in which case you can do a little, sorry, a little low on that. Do a little extra screening on the front. It's kind of like a rough sort. But it can take a lot of time. It really does. This is the most time consuming, kind of labor intensive, boring part, if you will. But that's just mainly for like listing and then actually like sorting for quality. But say for example you buy, see if I gotta lower this a little bit. I think I'm a little high. There we go. Like I said, first time doing this, so bear with me for that. It'd be nice if we could do this live. We can get some more people to subscribe to the channel, hit that quota so we can do some live, get some conversations going while we do it. Otherwise, it can be a little boring, but it's got to be done to get the cards to sell to you guys. What was I saying? Yeah, I've had lots where I bought for like say $20. And there was like $120 worth of value in it, you know, with excluding like commons and other stuff like that. Just a couple nice big hits, $10 cards, $15 cards, or more of the usual of, you know, rares or SRs that are $5, $6, you know, $1 for a rare, and you know you get 3, 4, 5 of them, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, you know, I just spent $20 on this auction, and all of a sudden, you know, I have a quarter of my money back already, you know, minus fees and shipping and all that. But so it can get kind of exciting, which is the fun part of doing this mainly. It is nice, however, when people do order from us, mainly me at that point, I should say. It's pretty solo when it comes to the shipping out aspect of it. Look at that right there. So we can go through some of these since they're right here in my hand. Nice little SEC there. Sanji and Pudding. I remember when I opened this the first time for EVO2, I think they were like $15, so I'm not sure where they are now, but it's nice to get some nice and organized cards. Kuma, I just started selling mine. I was hoping they were going to go up to like $60 a card, but you know, supply just kept growing and growing and demand started leveling off, so I did sell 3 of these, I think yesterday or this morning, one of the two. The nice Kuma. I know that price right there, so I can jot that down so we can try to keep a tally of what's going on. It's around $40, but good rule of thumb is just call it 15% or whatever you think the value is. That should eliminate basically all the fees and a portion of shipping. But if you're doing things right, you can probably ship 4 cards or under for right around $1 for envelopes and everything else. Jewelry Bonnie. Very nice. I Haven't gotten one of those yet because EBO2 was the devil. When it comes to me opening them, I got absolutely nothing outside of, like I said, maybe just the Sanji I'm putting down here. But Kobe, not bad. Sanji, not bad. Those were some decent cards. All right, these are no longer in sleeves, so be a little careful. These I definitely do not know what some of the prices are. I think Nico Robbins may be $1 or $2. Monkey D. Dragon, I don't think he's really anything. Same for that. But a lot of this is just going to be setting these on the side for SRs, and then going back later, you know, sorting it by set. Actually, I take that back. For SRs, the way I do it for my inventory, I don't really have too many of them. I did have some pretty good success earlier on where I had, you know, a lot of somebody that's must open cases after cases. It's about like $4 or $3, I think. So not too shabby there. Another one. There we go. So I'm saying this is where it kind of adds up. You get your main little happy fun time of all your SRs, and then start to get more of the rares. So we'll go ahead and funnel some of these out. Capone, Garp, Jinbei, another Capone, another Jinbei, but ooh, Vegapunk, he was like $8 or $10 at one point, so I wonder where he's floating at. Arlong, same thing, those two were pretty solid cards. Maybe I'll set those right there. Zoro, not too bad. Mr. Nonchalant right there. Another Jewelry Bonnie, Law, Anel. Anel was worth like $8 too at one point, I think. Throw him, bring him back, come back to the show. I know, oh, if we get a Yamato in here, last time I checked, if I can pick up these cards, jeez. Yamato from EBO2 was getting pretty nice. I think Nami's are worth, like I said, like $1 or $2 each. So it definitely all adds up pretty good. Let's go ahead and bear with the camera. We'll raise this up for a second, and I think I'm going to have to stand up and do what I usually do. Hopefully this camera will work out. But let me go ahead and make some room. Actually, let's go through these guys really quick. What was all this? So we got some leaders. Shirahoshi, Sanji's, all newer. So that's good. You'd be surprised. Leaders do sell. Not a lot, I should say. But they do sell. I'll have times where it's more infrequent. And usually when I do sell leaders, Zeus's are good. How they're all just nice and neat right there. More EBO2. Very nice. I think these were all like 30 or 40 cents a card, so it definitely all adds up. I think Zeus's were like $1 something each at one point. Some nice Don. $2 I think for the Kobe Don. Not too bad. We'll see if we can get some of these piles going a little bit neater. And then maybe end the end we can go through some of the nicer, bigger cards. But right off the bat, usually for starter decks, you can sometimes get them for like $6 a piece. You know, if you buy 10 of them or 8 of them when people are selling them usually. Depending on what it was, they were trying to go for just the pack and just sell the deck. They just wanted the free pack inside and hoping they can get their money back. But sometimes you can get lucky. But I usually kind of do, say, like $6 worth of value in each. So we'll just call that, maybe we'll call it 20. So I feel like some of the black beads are actually pretty good. I think they were like $3 a piece at one point. So we'll just call that, I don't know, what did I say, 20 bucks. So right now we're at 60 between just that Kuma and those 3 starter decks, which I can probably just leave in the back over here. Keep them on screen at least. Throw that up there and try to figure out how we want to do this camera angle. Because like I said, I think we need more of like a top-down situation. To be determined. But all right, now the sorting begins, and we just kind of see. I usually don't set too many cards aside as far as like value. I'll just kind of leave it all in the pile for the most part, and then go from there at the end. It's not really super important to kind of pull all the super expensive stuff to get it listed right away. I'm usually not in that big of a hurry. But what I will do, I think I'll go back to how we normally have it set up actually. Just kind of slide these in the back a little bit. Get some more room up in the front. Maybe drop the camera down to how we normally have it. There we go. More comfortable. There's a little notepad right there. Now we got to try to get the angle. Hands ready. All right, let's try it. So we got some rares over here in sleeves, which sleeves can be kind of a pain. They are kind of cool. What is it, Pokemon? Is it Tyranitar? I don't know. I haven't done Pokemon since way back as a kid, so me and knowing who they are, if I get it, it is sheer luck. I'll slide these over just right over there. Get some piles. Totally off my game though, I'll tell you that. Because normally I have everything all the way off to the left over here where you can't quite see it. But don't worry, it's there, I promise. Chopper Man, very nice. Ooh, the stack is gonna fall because it just does. All right, slide this my way. We'll start getting going because you guys want to see some cards, and I'm just shuffling cards around, making a mess. So we'll half stack this right in front of us so we don't interrupt the camera view, and we'll see how we can do this. So I got some rares over here. I think I'm centered. All right, so uncommons. Usual, we'll start the pile. And this is just kind of the fun part. You're just kind of looking through, just finding, yep, that didn't work. All right, uncommon, commons, back on track. Just sifting through. You might get lucky every once in a while, and maybe the person that was collecting that either just stopped, gave it up, or they're just trying to sell some of their uncommons and commons and just bulkier stuff that they don't care about. Either just kind of free up some money, or oh man, I am totally off my game. Oh, here we go. Here's some good stuff. Usopp, Sabo, Tony Chopper. Maybe, I think he's 90 cents. No, I think he fell a lot actually. Take that back. But anything EBO2 is usually pretty solid, maybe 30, 40 cents. So all these cards right here, Brooks, maybe not. I don't think I ever really sell those. Frankies are good. Nico Robins are okay. I think I have a bunch of Rocinante. I think Garp was doing good at one point. So, but hey, right there, you got a nice little stack of rares. Not to spoil too many secrets for everybody, but if you're looking to get just like a nice variety of cards, you kind of have like two options. Number one, TCG player. Maybe reach out to somebody, or even just eBay listings in general. Buy a bulk lot. You can probably get them for 20, 30 bucks for 1,000 plus cards, easy. And just kind of roll the dice. Look for something that might have rares in it. This looks like it's going to be a big portion of EBO2, which Carrot can sell. Sold some of these just because they're cute and adorable. I don't think they're really so much useful, but I enjoy that card. Just take a gamble on something. It's only 20 or 30 bucks. You're going to get a whole lot of cards. And then just hopefully they send them to you with proper packing and shipping, because that's going to be the biggest downfall. Like I said, I've ordered bulk, and just hoping it'd get there in one piece, and either there's no packing material in it, or there's hardly any, and everything is just upside down and just absolutely garbage. And nobody wants to buy common cards that are all torn up or super dinged if they're going to spend 10 cents on a common, maybe, if it's a good common, or 1 to 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents. I guess you're only spending a penny at that point, but people like stuff in good condition, and that's what we try to provide. So in order to get that to you guys, I got to get it in one piece myself. Pun intended. So the nice thing for a lot of these cards, hopefully I'm doing this right, because I was stuck on EBO2 mode, and all those are commons. So I did switch to some uncommons right here, which, very nice. Uncommons are always good. I think we sell Commons right around 5 cents each, no matter what, unless they're damaged. And then, you know, it might be a penny to 4 cents or whatever it might be, just to have some sort of value on it. But then also for uncommons, we're usually right around 10 cents a card. So even if it's not worth it, we're still going to sell it for 10 cents, just because we got to have some floor prices for stuff. Start getting into some of these rares. Gear 2, nice. Honesty Impact, I still hate Kobe. More of you probably agree with me than not. Causes so much trouble and just whines and complains and doesn't do anything. And then when he does, he ruins everything. So, you know, nice cards. I know when I had a nice little lot of Gear 2s, every once in a while, see like a little speck on stuff. But yeah, look at that. Look right there. And granted, like I did say, we paid 116 for this lot, but you know, you had the Kuma in the beginning, starter decks, and now we're just starting to stack up the rares. So by the time we're done with this, probably have a stack like this of rares, hopefully. Maybe. We'll see. But uncommons, you'd be surprised. People do buy a lot of stuff, even if they're slightly dinged or not. I mean, I haven't been selling cards for too long. This kind of started off as me wanting just to kind of get back into cards and waste a bunch of money. But then I was like, well, maybe I can do both, you know. Sell some cards that I don't want or that I get to buy more cards and keep that fun cycle going. And then it kind of just evolved more into, maybe I can turn this into like a little bit of a business and have the fun that way. Because all I want to do is make meme decks that are probably not competitive, that'll just make people annoyed or angry. So, I mean, I still do that anyway, so that's fine. But let's go through, get all this going. I have a backlog of commons to still sort and list. Probably about 10 of these stacks worth on the table behind me. So commons are definitely the bane of everyone's existence, but it's either you try to sell them, and some can go for, you know, 10 to 15 cents if they're, you know, good for that matter. So there's definitely some money in it. It's all small. All this is all small margin stuff. You're not going to become rich by any means, unless you're just buying endless amounts of it, in which case then you'll probably do pretty all right. Or if you get lucky, maybe that part. You'll do all right if you just keep the grind at it. You're definitely going to need to have another job though. But when you get lucky, hey, you know, maybe want to go get some nice dinner or something and spend the money that way, or save up. Or, you know, maybe we can get popular to a certain extent, and maybe this YouTube thing will help us buy more cards and open them and have a fun little time opening cards with everybody. Send out some freebies here and there and get that little good time rolling. But every once in a while you see like a little ding. But a lot of these cards you can get are actually surprisingly in good shape for the most part. I was curious about when they started doing all this uncommons with just the 2K counter. Just kind of miss all the effects on the cards though, but you know, it is what it is. But usually for like a rough sort, this can take anywhere between, I think we're at 23 minutes right now, so it can definitely take a while. Sorry if this is going to be a boring video for you guys. See if I can do like a recap at the end and either do a second video, not a second video, but pause it, get a rough count, lay everything out, and, you know, do some editing of a video that I haven't done in a while, which I just don't have time to, unfortunately. I know some of the more original videos did like a little counter for all the decent little cards, pretty much anything worth something, or more rares, I should say, than anything else. It just takes too much time. It'd be great if I could throw it in like an AI program. Come on, AI overlords, make everything easier for us, right? And tell it to look up all the card values every time we pull something and have a little counter on the side, just ticking up it. Otherwise, you know, writing down the prices, going in, editing the video, putting in little titles and that for everything. It does take a lot of time. And then you're like, well, I have it, but now I want to make it look better. And that takes even more time. So, unfortunately, I just don't have it. But if somebody wants to do it for me, I cannot pay you, except maybe in cards. Let me know. But otherwise, yeah, just buy some cards, have some fun, get an eBay lot for $20, and just make some meme decks. I think that's what people are missing out on. Some good old-fashioned uncommon or under, maybe just commons. I know it's probably going to get a little bit easier now that, here we go, get all the EBO2s. I just got to remember what they all look like so I don't skip it on accident and stop looking at rarities. Common decks. I know when I made my Zoro common deck, there weren't really a whole lot of commons to use, so multicolor might be a better option. But I pretty much just went for everything that was like a 1 cost 3K, and then flood the field as soon as possible and just start swinging for the fences. I had some Cavendishes, which were, it'd have rush if you took a card from your life. So, I mean, I haven't really redone anything, but even cards like this where 3 of your cards gain 1,000, so between this and like your Zoro, Don on him, that'd be 2K for everybody on the field. I mean, write that in there. I had any little combos that were kind of silly, like chess and who? Chess and the other one from '08, where, here we go, start getting some uncommons. Anything where if you have so-and-so on the field, play this from your hand, right, just to get more characters on the field. And then that'd be basically it. You pretty much just try to zoo everybody down, and it worked pretty well because it'd be just ridiculous. But then we also didn't play against too many serious decks or more meta, so it's hard to say how effective it really was. But it was, I mean, maybe $1 worth of cards if you would have bought it all from like TCG Play or something like that. So not too shabby. But as of right now, we might be getting to the, hopefully there's some more rares in that. I think I see some at the top, but otherwise we are stacked on commons right now, which isn't the worst thing for EB02s, but it'll probably be a while before they start to kind of awkwardly go up in value for some stuff. But even these 10 cents a piece, get 100 of them or so, get a small portion of what you paid back. But all these little guys do add up. You just kind of hope that whoever buys them either buys enough to where upgrading shipping from like a plain white envelope is not too pricey compared to what they paid for it. So if somebody buys 40 common cards or 60 common cards, where you're just like out of the physical limitations of plain white envelope, then you're hoping that they spend as much to kind of help the fact that you're gonna pay a lot more for shipping. I know I recently adjusted my shipping price up 50 cents because it was just not really worth the $1.99. I mean, I got plenty of orders that are $1.99, and I definitely broke even on shipping majority of the time. But you get a string of orders where it might only be $5 or $6 orders, but they could be 80 cards, and then you're basically spending all your money that you may or may not gain or go in the hole. So thank you for everybody that's still buying cards at the new price. It's only $2.49 to ship it, but it definitely helps kind of make it worth doing, where you're not losing money on every order, especially with the prices of stamps that went up. I mean, it's nothing crazy. I think they went up 5 cents for a forever stamp, and so these cards, you can kind of get a little bit more of a right up here, there's a little bit of a ding. It's kind of hard to tell, but these gold borders, you can kind of see it a little bit easier when you kind of turn it. I don't think it's really picking up on the camera though. Yeah, shipping prices are going crazy right now. Not really that crazy, but holiday anyway, they are. Everything's going up right now for all the seasonal volume. So if you're shipping stuff, get ready for an extra, however much it is, I forget. I think flat rates are going up by $1 a piece for like envelopes and little like Tyvek pouches. So if you're doing any expedited, those will be going up on you. I think starting October, or maybe even now, I forget. But otherwise it's not too bad. Usually from the way I pack orders, I'll have kind of either shipping shields, these guys right here, or just the top loader, which I should have like a whole stack next to me somewhere. Right there. There's the top loader. So depending on what you guys order, usually 1 to 4 cards. I'll throw in a shipping shield. It's just like a nicer feel. You can kind of use them after the fact a little bit better than a top loader. And then California. If you guys live in California, I'm sorry. I hate California. I had a couple that got rejected and sent back, which the only time it's ever happened to me out of, I think we're at 1,200 orders so far this year now. So thank you all for that. But plain white envelopes, something about California, just hated the way I was doing it. So I got a string of them back and took care of them, sent them back out a little bit faster speed and with some tracking, so people got their orders, hopefully, not too delayed. But yeah, so like 1 through 4. It's kind of like what I do for these now. You can get 6. 6 is kind of the threshold, is most I'll go for these with One Piece cards. So it'll be this, obviously fold over. That's 6 cards in each with their own individual penny sleeves. If you had 6 cards in one penny sleeve, it's not as thick, so you get a little bit more leeway there. Usually 6 is the most I would do. Otherwise, it gets too bulky width-wise for the envelope, or it gets kind of on that line of maybe it's too bulky, maybe not. So usually 8 and under as well. I'll do a top loader, so 2 on the inside, 6 on top. And then once you start getting into like 10 cards, I'll usually either do 5 and 5 and 2 top loaders side by side. And then for like the higher amounts, 2 top loaders. I feel like they ship a little bit better if you have top loaders for like higher amounts side by side. At least like if they're going through the machine, or I just haven't really had any issues at all with doing it that way. So you can get about say like just under 30 cards, maybe it's like 24. I think 24 cards with top loaders that way. Otherwise, after that, you pretty much just make 3 stacks of like 12 or so. So you can get about 36 going in a plain white envelope. And that's when they're just like this. So you have three stacks. Put them all in a team bag. I still put them in penny sleeves. It does make it a little bit thicker. So I guess it depends on what's being ordered. If they're all, just super undervalued common cards, it is what it is for that. But if there's still some good cards, if they're good cards, it depends on the value. And at that point, you just kind of bite the bullet and upgrade the shipping to tracking, little bubble mailer. I think I do a pretty good job when it comes to anything in a bubble mailer. I'll usually, obviously everything in penny sleeves. Team bag. There we go. Starting to get some rares. Throw it in our team bag. Got these little bubble pouches. They're nice. They're like 10 or 12 cents each. Just toss it in. So you essentially have it like this, fold it over, and then I have these little cardboard pieces that I cut out from used boxes. Decent little bit. Usually do 2 and 2, so sandwich it. 2 on the bottom, 2 here. Rubber band, and then into a nice little bubble mailer. You know, I mean, these things are only like 20, 25, 26 cents, something like that, but I did buy like 500 of them at one point, so I'll have bubble packs for the end of days. But some more EBO2 rares, always good. Mary Go, I know that was a great card right off the bat for them. Oh, here we go. Demon Aura 9 style. I know this was $1.50, I think, recently. I was selling a couple for, so maybe they're right around there, maybe not. Hiyori, always doing nothing, just sitting there. Oh, the EBO 1, I think of that was like $6 or $8 at 1.2, so that was pretty nice. So far, I think we have some good stuff. Hoping we're close to that 116 mark. If anybody's keeping track, when I upload this video, and if I get lazy and kind of forget to total everything up for you guys, feel free to let me know. But yeah, this is the rough part. So hopefully we'll get a few hundred more of you guys to enjoy this and get maybe a nice little TV, right? You can't see what I'm doing. Nice little TV right up there to read some comments as we spend our endless time sorting through cards. But we're definitely way heavy on commons, which isn't normal, but I think it's just because of all the EBO2. But like all these are here, especially in these 2Ks. I feel like she was going for like maybe 20 cents at 1.2, so that was pretty good. But every uncommon is potentially 10 cents. Honesty Impact. I will say, a lot of this stuff, I always feel like it's maybe damaged, but it's just the border of the card. But every once in a while you kind of see, I was like, oh, is that a scratch or not? So here we go, we're getting into some rares. And rares will usually sell for 15 cents. So if it's a 5-cent rare, sorry, I charge 15 just to kind of make it a little bit worth selling, because otherwise you can't afford it. And usually if the thought kind of goes to, well, I can just charge $5.99 for shipping or $6.99 for shipping, it's a little high, so people aren't going to want to pay that, especially if they're only buying a 10-cent card for whatever reason. They just want one card, they're not going to pay that. But it would be nice and easy, because everything gets in a nice little bubble mailer, gets tracking, gets there faster, hopefully. Because, you know, the dreaded USPS bouncing around the country for a couple of weeks for no reason, because the machine can't sort it or people just don't care. Man, I think we're just getting off camera for comments. I have to start a new stack. But I think the other thing too is just the waiting game. So a lot of these cards may not be worth anything, you know, one day. Just carrot in this little sleeve will take you out of there. We like to use our own sleeves. Thank you. Right in the garbage you go. Little uniformity. But there's times when common cards can shoot up to, you know, 15, 20 cents, and you're like, hey, that's great, it's a common card. He's either gonna maybe donate them or do what people do and say, hey, you want 3,000 common cards, $20 plus shipping, it's all yours, just to kind of thin out the inventory, which I definitely thought about doing, but I just like to keep everything, unfortunately. I'll have endless stacks of cards eventually thrown into boxes and inventoried, and maybe at some point soon, if I get to like the 50,000 mark for cards, which, you know, I mean, right here there's probably, I don't know, 1,000 or so cards maybe. Just keep buying orders like this every so often. You'll get there pretty fast, you'd be surprised. Or if you find something where, hey, this is a 5,000 card order and it's only $100, you want to take the chance if there's anything good in it? The answer is no. Don't do that. You will have so many cards, and if it's nothing good in there, you're going to be forever sad just because you have to do something with those cards. But if you want to give them away to people, that's always a good time too. Maybe you can craft some little fun little decks, little oddball stuff, pass them out. If anybody wants to, you know, donate them to any good little charity, or like, you know, Christmas time and stuff, for, you know, Toys for Tots and that kind of thing. I don't know if they'd take cards. I'm sure they would, but kind of pre-pack some stuff, give back to the community kind of thing. Help out the kids that just have nothing to do. Throw some cards away. Their way, I should say. Get them playing some card games. The good kind of card games. The One Piece card games. Otherwise, we are getting to the end. And by end, I mean there's still probably several hundred more to go. Almost there. So, uncommons, we got a nice little stack. Little light on the rares. So I know when I was bidding for this, every once in a while, don't fall into this trap. You want to overpay because you just want to win something for once. Because there's a lot of times when you're trying to make money off this versus, hey, that'd be fun to just buy and kind of have. You can spend a little bit and you don't really care so much, but when you're trying to make some money on stuff, don't chase it for the sake of wanting to buy something. It's a good rule not to try to give into that. But got some more uncommons. That's what we want to see. But yeah, you could be sitting on all these uncommons for a year or two. Every once in a while, I think Ripper, when it came out, sold like all of them right away for some reason, for like maybe 15 to 20 cents each. And I was surprised. X-Drake, good. Pika, I don't think I've ever sold one of them. So if someone wants to buy all of them that I have, that'd be great. Alright, I think this is actually a good little stack right here. Getting into some rares. That's what we need. So we got some OP11, some good stuff. Gear 2s are always good. Let me just set that out. I'll take that out of the sleeve in a little bit. I do love this card. I think the art on it's fun. Lazy Man Borsellino, Lord of the Coast, more Gear 2s, fantastic. Kobe. We all love Kobe on this channel. Just kidding, he's the worst. But this is where your nice little chunk of rares comes into play. So all these could potentially be 15 cents or more, depending on, I think Basil is actually pretty good. Sabo, I think he was alright. Zeus, oh, Zeus was good. I think he's around $1. I'll set him on the side just because he's got all his little friends next to him. Shanks, Sanji, so some newer. Haven't opened too many of the newer boxes. Oh wait, yeah I did. I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have opened 7 of them. I lied. We did send out some cards to Beckett, so hopefully we'll get those back in the next 2 months or so. I think we might have mentioned that before on another video, or maybe not, or they haven't come out yet anyway. So this will kind of be thrown out there maybe this weekend or early or mid next week maybe for this video. I'm doing uncommons. And we'll see, because I think I have all the box openings for Legacy of the Master OP12 kind of scheduled for 1 a week. We had like 7 boxes open, so it'll take a couple weeks to go out, but that way spread out some content, have more of a consistent amount out there, and if I can do more stuff to kind of fill in the gaps or add more throughout the week, I can do that. But that way there's more of a something kind of out there for everybody, versus every 2 days just drop a video and flood it and then have nothing for a month or two, especially if I get busy with work or, to be honest, cards, because there's some times where you really just don't want to look at them, but you have to because you need to sell them to get rid of them so you don't have to look at them anymore. So it's a vicious cycle. But yeah, anybody have any questions for stuff, feel free to leave them in the comments. I know there's plenty of people that do videos on like how they ship stuff, so could potentially do something like that in the future, but I feel like there's enough out there already that have some good advice for the most part. I know if you're trying to relate one for one when it comes to cards, say for example, when I was starting out and thinking about doing this for selling cards, you know, go to YouTube, look at people's videos for it. There's hundreds of them. But then to try to find something that's actually for the cards that you're going to be selling. So say for example, I was looking at videos of Magic the Gathering sellers, and I guess Magic the Gathering cards are a little bit thinner than these. They're not as thick. So, you know, it'd say, oh, you can fit 3 cards in a penny sleeve and then into a top loader. That would not work at all. So be mindful of what you're looking up and just do your research. But if you want to start out something like this, you can do it relatively, I should say, inexpensive for some stuff. But if you know you have to buy a printer, like a decent one, oh no, don't topple. Camera's getting away from my face. Can't see what I'm doing. You know, if you got to buy a printer, you can get envelopes off like Amazon for $20. If you're going to do things legit and start like an LLC, you know, that could be a couple $100 depending on your state to do the filing and everything else, and do it proper. I mean, you could just do it as kind of like a hobby, air quotes, but then depending on how taxes work, you might be able to write stuff off. So there's a lot of ins and outs that just take time, but anybody can do it for the most part. Just gotta read. Reading is the worst, I know, but if you could read the lines on the cards, you can read a really boring IRS document or state license, blah blah blah. So have at it, have some fun. But you know, postage is probably gonna be one of your biggest expenses. You know, buying a roll of forever stamps, $100 or 78 bucks for 100 cents, or 78 cents a piece right now. But then you also need to get the little school bus ones for the additional ounce, because if anybody orders 4, or I should say 5 or more cards, you got to add more postage to it depending on how you pack it. Don't just throw a card in the envelope. Do it right so it gets to the person that actually paid money for it. Or if you want to kind of maybe do the easy, look at the centering on that card. It's a little rough right there. I mean, if you're starting off like say TCG player, sell big cards, because you're not going to have the inventory space to allow for uncommons or commons. You're pretty much going to be rares, SRs, probably just SRs and like alt arts and stuff. 'Cause I think you have like maybe a 100 limit until you start selling some orders. But you could do I want to say $4.99, $4 or $5.99 for shipping is the cap, I think, for single cards. Maybe I'm wrong. Fact check me on that. But that could be your easy way of doing it. You know, charge a bunch for shipping. That way you can cover your flat fee of 30 cents. So every TCG order, TCG player order, I should say, there's another rare, so pile's getting a little bit better for that. Is, God, what was it? Started doing the pro seller fees. Basic account, I think it was 12 or 11.5%, or 11 and maybe 11.5%, and then 2.5% for the processing fee for the credit cards and stuff, and then plus 30 cents. So you're at like, basically just call it like 14%. You know, it's like 13.75, something like that, and then 30 cents. So that's applied to, you know, your subtotal for your order. So someone buys $5 worth of cards, well, that 13.75% is going to get taken out of that. If you charge $4.99 for shipping, that 13.75% is going to get taken out of your shipping as well. So you have to account for that You got to account for everything so you know what you're actually getting out of orders, you know, pricing accordingly. If you want to have, you know, just super competitive shipping, like free shipping, like, hey, that could be great, or it could bite you. It all just kind of depends on what you want to do. But like I say, if you charge $4.99 for shipping, you're probably going to lose money on every order when it comes to shipping if you're doing into like a bubble mailer and sending stuff, because like the cheapest you're going to get is like $4, maybe $3.80, $3.90, depending on if it's right next to you. But otherwise, you got to take into account that 30 cents right off the top, and then that 13 and some change percent for the cost for the shipping, for the fee, as well as just your order total. So you got to find that little sweet spot. And I did $1.99 originally, and that was kind of a pretty good sweet spot. You know, paid for, it covered the 30 cents transaction fee, and then the percentage for the percentage off the shipping allowed to where if I sold 4 cards or less, so the cost of one stamp, the envelope, penny sleeves, and everything else that went into it, I think I made on the shipping side alone maybe like 30 or 40 cents before postage went up. And then that way, if anybody ordered you know, 5 or more cards, that's when you got to get these little school bus stamps. So that's an additional ounce stamp. So you'd have where are you at? You'd have one of these plus one of these allows 2 ounces. And then say if it was, you know, 20, 30 cards, then maybe you need one of those and then 2 of these for 3 ounces. And your best thing for that is go on Amazon, get a little pocket scale. That way you can weigh your envelopes. Because the worst thing you can do is not weigh your envelopes, and then all of a sudden you're getting your plain white envelope back in the mail with a lovely little sticker on it that says more postage needed. And it usually takes maybe a week or 2 after you sent it out to get it back. So your customer's going to be a little pissed off. All right, that's it. Customer's going to be a little angry. And then you got to pay more money. You just wasted all that time. So it's not a good look for that. So this would have been a great time to have an extra person here, just kind of pricing out all these sweet cards. Gotta get some of these on sleeves, but okay. So rares, we're looking at a nice little haul there. Leaders, I think these were just all the leaders. So he was worth a decent bit when it first came out, like almost $1. Now he's probably like 10 or 20 cents. But leaders, you don't sell them often, but when you do, you'll probably get something, not so much current set usually, because people will buy stuff from current sets that they can get their hands on, so they'll have leaders. But like I've sold 30 of these to one person before because they wanted it for their binder. Awesome, great, thanks. Very odd. I had a message and be like, did you mean to order 30 or do you want 3 of them? I'm like, nope, I want it for a binder. Okay. Awesome. All right, cool. So let's see if we can do like a rough breakdown then, kind of give an idea, and then maybe I'll put back in the comments what we made. So we got a nice little Anel, Vegapunk, Arlong, maybe like $3. I want to say Anel was like $6 or $8. Vega was maybe $6 or $8 at one point. Arlong was like $3. Sanji was like $6, maybe still around there. Kobe, probably garbage. Jewelry Bonnie, I actually have no idea what Jewelry Bonnie's at for the alt art. Kuma, like we said, for 40. Sanji and Pudding, probably still around like 10. Maybe around 10. We'll say 10. Maybe closer to 15. So we got those little gems right there. Some of those little... This one, though, I know this one before was like a $80 card or like a $60 card, like when it first came out, because they were horrible pull rates. We'll just take a guess and say 20 on that, because I would like it to be 20. These guys I saw recently, they're like $3 each, so we'll call that 6. And the other thing, what you want to do is when you're buying stuff, you have to take into consideration, like, hey, so I paid $116 for this. How much value do I need in order to get my money back? So more expensive cards, say if, Kuma's going to be a great example, right? So Kuma's worth right now about $40. He was 45-ish. He was 50. Now he's basically around 40. All right, awesome. $40? Wrong. It's not $40. You're going to have to ship this in a bubble mailer with tracking. So right there you're at, call it $455 for the postage alone. Not including the label for it, not including the bubble mailer, not including, rubber bands, top loader, everything else. So that's probably like closer to, say, like $6, maybe, maybe like 5.5-ish, depending on where it's going and where you're at for distance wise. So right there, $5 or $6 off. So now this is like a $35, $34 card. But wait, you sell for 40 right now for me, fees with the pro seller fee on there. I think it's like 14.5%, so just call it 15%. So 15% of 40, $6. Well, there's another $6 gone. So right there, your $40 card is now 29-ish. Is that right? 29, $30. So take home, you're gonna get like $30 for this card after everything's said and done. So whatever you do when you buy stuff, you got to make sure you're accounting for, any card that's $25, $30 is usually when I'll start sending stuff in a bubble mailer. I rarely have any orders lost to the post office, thankfully. And just, people being nice and not saying that they didn't get their order when they actually received it. So we've been pretty fortunate for that. But so right now we're looking at a total of $96. So that's without all of these rares, all these uncommons, all of these SRs for the most part. Hell, not even including the Enel, the Vegapunk, Arlong. Like I said, we just kind of went for a couple of these. This right here, I think I sold one before for maybe like $5. So I probably made like $2 or $3 after shipping and handling and all of that and all the fees. But hey, $2, $3, boom, can add that to the total. I know we said like $2 for the Don for this guy. So I think overall we're definitely in the money. All these Dons. Oh, there's the second one. I didn't see that. So that's $4 right there. All these Dons, 30 cents a piece. Really, Dons aren't really too crazy, at least not for a while. So we're probably easily at, I don't know, what are these guys? Special Don. Oh, is it? These could be decent then. Oh no, 07. Is it these? I always forget. Double packs are my worst one. So if these are these, then another $2 each. So, $2, $4, $6, $8. So is that 104 then? Call 104. So I'm like $12 off. So yeah, we've definitely made money on this. Got this huge stack. Got all these Zeus's. If they're all $1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another $7. That basically puts us at almost what we paid for. So we'd have this whole other stack of rares to kind of get us there. I think there's a little bit more value in here than what we thought originally too. Whole bunch of uncommons. If you wanted to take the easy way out, hey, there's 500 or 600 commons here, charge $10 for shipping, and then just put it up for an auction starting at like $5 to get rid of it. You make a couple dollars back and just kind of not have to worry about all these common cards. But yeah, I think that was a pretty good success right there. I'll have to total up some numbers or maybe add it in a comment of the video just for the overall. But if you guys made it through this whole video, it's almost an hour long. Thanks for hanging out. Like I said, hopefully we can kind of get this onto more of a live stream action, just to kind of have some more back and forth, answer some questions. But let us know what you like, what you didn't like. Leave us a comment, like, subscribe. Till the next time, TM Collectibles signing off.